Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a really abstract floral. We're going to be using all kinds of fun different techniques, and I'll show you how to do it step by step from start to finish. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat for our live show, so you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. All right, so I'm going to be using a 12 by 16 inch Pro Linen, Belgian linen board from Fredrix. This is just a practice board here. What I'm going to do is do kind of the first part on here, and then I'll pull out the Fredrix canvas with the background already kind of started. So since we're going to have to kind of do it in two steps, because of the salt technique that we're going to be using. So let's go over our colors really quick. I've got a bunch of different colors. I'm kind of using the whole rainbow, and I kind of left out my practice sheet here because I'm just going to go ahead and use that up later, but I'll go over these colors up here. This is Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Cadmium Yellow Light, Yellow Oxide, Cadmium Yellow Light, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Phthalo Green Yellow shade, Teal, Phthalo Blue Green shade, Ultramarine Blue, Light Ultramarine Blue, Burnt Sienna, Dioxazine Purple, and Burnt Umber. And then this is White and Unbleached Titanium. If you have the colors in golden fluid acrylics, we'll be using some of those. So that's what I have down here. I have some fluid Ultramarine Blue, and this is fluid, oops, don't want to do that, fluid turquoise, Phthalo turquoise, which is just the Phthalo green and Phthalo blue together, mixed together. And then this is Quinacridone Magenta. And I put out some matte medium to start with. So we'll use that to start with on our background. And we might be using some glazing liquid and other things. You'll also probably want some alcohol, some rubbing alcohol. And if you have any kind of palettes, or these are the Catalyst mini blades. I'll be using some of these for some techniques. You can also use a credit card, like a plastic card, or a palette knife for some of the techniques. If you've got a sponge, you could use that, some plastic wrap, or some different kind of textured wraps. This is one that you can kind of just go kind of crazy with and use whatever kind of sparks your imagination. So this is the fun thing about this project, is there's really no wrong way of doing it. I'll just show you kind of some different techniques that you can use. You're also going to want some margarita salt. I like the margarita salt more than the regular salt, and I know Mark's probably going to joke for this, but because it's kind of large flakes, it seems to do better for the techniques that we're going to be doing than the regular table salt. So
yeah, I'm just glad that you have margarita salt while you're wearing gloves.
I still I don't know. I don't even know what that means. All right. I'm not going to ask. All right, you're going to need a large flat brush. So I've got a number 2-inch Redline Princeton. That's the angle brush. I've got a number 12 bright, a number 10 bright, a number 8 bright in the 6100 series. And then I've got some smaller brushes here. These are the Filbert brush, number 4 Filbert, number 1 and 2 round, also in the 6100 series from Princeton. And then we've got a couple angle brushes. It's 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch angles in the VelvetTouch line, and their fan brush, this Princeton Select fan brush. So thank you to Princeton and Fredrix, they're our canvas and brush sponsor, for providing our materials today. And let's get started on this. So this is really fun. Like I said, don't stress out too much about it looking exactly like mine. This is one of those things that mine probably won't even end up looking anything like the original one that I did earlier, because these techniques are so kind of unique, and they create all these kind of interesting weird effects, so you're never going to really have the same effect twice. So that's kind of fun thing about it. I'm going to use a spray bottle here and just spray down my canvas, my dry canvas, to get it damp. This will just kind of give us a little bit of extra working time with our brush, and using the large brush will also help give us a little extra working time. I'm going to wet down my brush, and I'm going to grab up a big glob of that matte medium, and the matte medium will help our paint stick to our canvas And then I'm grabbing a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue, mixing that in, and it's going to create kind of a transparent color here for me. But because I have that matte medium in, or any other medium, you could use glazing liquid if you don't have matte medium. Really just whatever kind of acrylic medium you've got, you just want to use that in with your water, because if you don't use a medium, the acrylics will not bind to your canvas very well. If you have it too thin with water, they just don't stick to your canvas. So I am just going to quickly cover my whole entire canvas with color. It doesn't really matter what colors, you just kind of want to use whatever seems good to you. So if you wanted to use yellows or reds for your background, whatever you want to do. We're going to build up our layers. We're going to have lots of different colors here eventually. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to this turquoise here. And the main thing is I want to work quickly and get this whole thing covered and have it all still wet while I'm working. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta there. Mix that in. I'm just going to dab it around here in just a few places, just using the tip of my brush. It doesn't really matter where exactly it goes. Using a little bit more of the Ultramarine Blue. Do some little purple tones. Okay, so the main thing is we just want the whole thing covered, and I don't want it too soupy. So if you've got any areas that are like really drippy, you can kind of tap those off. You want it to be wet, but not like a pool, you know? You don't want it to be like you're bathing in paint here. Not too thin. Okay, so that's about right. Just kind of a light texture here, light cover. And then I'm using this salt, and I'm just going to go up and down and do sort of little rows with this margarita salt. And you can see already it's going to start sucking, it sucks the moisture out of the paint, and also kind of gathers those pigments around it.
Just zooming in so they can get a good look in a certain area there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool. So when it dries, the salt will leave a little white spot wherever the main part of the salt was, and then it'll leave like a ring of dark color around the outside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the plastic wrap now.
Hey, real quick, somebody's got a question. They want to know if the Redline brushes are in your brush guys list.
They're not yet, but they are going to be. They're on the way. Okay, so I'm just using plastic wrap here, and that's what's going to give us those kind of weird, like whitish things. And I'm just going to ball it up into a ball here and just use it to dab off. I'm going right over the top of the salt. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to really affect the salt. I'm not going to want to push it around. If you push it around, and then it won't, and then it will kind of pick up the salt and move it, and it really won't get that effect that we're looking at. But if we just dab on top of it, it won't affect it too much. Okay, so that's good right there. And that's pretty much it for this technique. Now, if you wanted to, you could use another, like if you wanted some sort of circular different sections, I can use my bubble wrap and kind of do some different textures there. Can you see that?
Okay, real quick. The canvas was not painted beforehand, right?
No, it was not. I just used water, sprayed it with water,
okay.
And then, but you want to make sure that you're using lots of your medium in there so that the water doesn't dilute your paint too much. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to set this aside to dry, and you can use a hairdryer for it, but can you find a spot for that, hon?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so this is what happens when it's dry. It'll dry this, and my color's a little bit darker here than what I did in the other. I went a little bit darker with my colors, and I think it goes around like this. So this is what it looks like when you rub, and once you got it dry, then you're going to rub it really well and get all of the salt off. And I had like a huge amount of salt here when I finished up. It's very messy, but it leaves with these kind of, I don't know, there's a good one right there. You can see it, how the salt does. All right. It's a really interesting technique.
I missed a question earlier. They want to know if they would be able to use a flow release to help the paint not dry.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're really not necessarily worried about it not drying too quickly. I mean, really, it's a pretty fast technique, so I don't think that you'll need anything. Can you get that thing of light right there?
I sure will. And do you know if Epsom salts would work?
It might, as long as it's granular enough. You just want large grains of salt. The larger are better. You get bigger spots on there. So that's why I like the margarita salt, because it's more of a flaky salt. It's got a larger flakes to it. All right, so now we're going to... Sorry, I'm trying to do this in Mark's using a thing over my head there. So it's not distracting at all. Here, will you clean out my brush there? Just going to rinse it out. It's going to miss. Yeah, I'm making him do all kinds of work here. He's just...
You need me to rub your shoulders or
Yes,
anything while
please,
you're doing this?
please.
Or
Yeah,
feet?
thanks.
Feet? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I just got this all in my paint. All right, so I'm going to take that and move it out of the way. All right, well, we didn't make too much of a mess. It's not too bad. All right, so I'm going to put some more matte medium down. You could also use, like I said, glazing liquid or all of the acrylic mediums are basically the same, almost the same thing. They have different additives and different thicknesses, but they're all that kind of acrylic polymer, which is in your paints. It's just in a concentrated form here. This is just basically paint without. This is what's in your acrylics without pigment. So, and the matte medium has a little bit of a mattifying agent in there. There's kind of white particles that can kind of make it less shiny too. So if you want it shinier, you can use your glazing liquid. Really doesn't matter for this technique. Okay, so I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow and use that glazing liquid, or matte medium in this case. A little bit of water. This is the light yellow, cadmium yellow light here. I'm just going to tint a couple different places. Let's grab a little bit of pink. Mix that in. I'm just going to tint over the top of what we've already done. Grabbing that medium there. And I'm just kind of picking some areas. It doesn't really matter too much where I'm doing this. I'm just kind of going to add a little bit of other color over the top. And then I can take my alcohol. While that's wet, I can dip off a little bit of alcohol on those wet areas. This may have dried too much already. I just have my alcohol in a little bottle here, but you can see what it's doing. This area is not going to be as noticeable because I think it started to dry a little bit.
Somebody asked about how long does it take for the paint to dry before you can wipe the salt off?
It didn't take very long. I used a hairdryer to kind of speed it up on this one. Let it set for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then you can like blow dry it. You don't want to blow dry it right away because you want that salt to have time to absorb some of these colors. So just kind of know that going in, you know. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit more of this, and I'm going to do a few drips. So I'm going to, honey, you're way too close here.
Yeah, sorry, I was showing them the effect of the alcohol.
Okay.
And then the cap was knocking. So.
Oh. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go up at the top here, and I'm going to just lay down some color. I'm going to take my spray bottle and I'm going to spray right on top of where that is, and it'll cause some drips to happen. And you can do this as much as you want. So you can do lots and lots of drips on here. I'm just doing different techniques here. I'm not necessarily going to do all of them as much as I might if I was kind of, you know, there we go. Doing I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, there might be some techniques that I would do more than others, you know, but I'm trying to kind of show you just a variety of different things that you can do. So you can use, you know, as many or as a few of these as you like on your own painting. So let's get some teal here. Let's do some more of the painting here. Oops. I'm going to do some more of this alcohol. This won't be as noticeable as the purple because it's kind of similar to the color below, but you get the idea. All right. Let's do some green.
Somebody asked if this technique underbinds.
No, because we're using the mediums. So if we didn't use medium, it would underbind and it would, you know, lift off the color. But
so you called in reinforcements.
But because we're using the mediums, that's why we're using those mediums, and that will keep it from underbinding.
Kind of like a shield,
right?
Booster.
Exactly. Just adding water here. Our paints already have the glazing liquid in there, so, or the medium in there, so it won't completely underbind. There we go. Ooh, lots of fun different things. Let's do some yellow paint in there. It'll follow the path that's already there. If you put another color on top, like we're doing here. Just make sure you're adding a little bit of that medium. You can also use something like an airbrush medium, which is a really, really thin down. It's almost like a water consistency. And that, instead of water, if you wanted to use that, if you're worried about the underbinding, it will, it's the polymer medium, so it'll stick to your canvas. And it's used in airbrushing, but you can use it as an additive to your water as well to prevent your paint from underbinding. Okay. Get some of this yellow down over here over the top of the green areas. Very cool. Let's use some of it over here too.
I'm not gonna lie.
What?
This looks like a hot mess.
Oh, it will look like a hot mess until you kind of get the last little bit on here. But that's the fun thing about this one, is it is kind of messy and weird and
kind of change the pace. Mm-hmm. Like me, kind of messy and weird.
You don't want, to go into this with too much of a preconceived notion of how exactly it's going to go down, because it'll surprise you. So let's grab a little bit of white. I'm going to use my sponge here with the white. Get a little bit of that medium, thin it down. I'm just going to tap in some little bits of white. And you may not need to do this, but I'm just going to You could also do paint on something like this. Take one of these and add some color to it. And
someone asked
make an impression.
If this would work with a glossy medium too.
Yes. Yes. The glossy medium will just be a little bit brighter. Kind of see that. I'm not sure if you're seeing that.
I'm zooming in.
You can see a little bit of that right there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right there that we did. So, like I said, just kind of enjoy it. Have fun with it. Let your kids kind of explore this. Just make sure that when you're mixing your colors, that you are using colors that will blend well together. You don't want to use colors that are going to create a muddy effect. So, the blue, pink, turquoise are all kind of right there on the color, or the bright like magenta to blues are all kind of really close on the color wheel. So those colors will blend well together. So if you were doing this with brighter colors, you could use orange, yellow, and red, something like that, to do, a more warm background if you wanted to. So, all right, let me see what I want to do now. I'm just going to splatter.
So this is an interesting technique if you just want to stop after doing this.
Sure, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's very cool looking.
Yeah. You just said it was a hot mess. Is it cool or is it a hot mess?
It's a cool, hot mess.
Right. Exactly. All right, so I am mixing in some white with my teal here. And the teal is just the phthalo blue and phthalo green together with white. Right, I'm mixing a little bit of the matte medium in there for it to be. And I'm going to start creating these vertical, almost kind of stripes over the top of this. And if it's not showing up, add a little bit more white or add a little bit more of the dark. You can go either way. If it's, too much the same color, just go either a little bit darker or a little bit lighter than what's already there, and it'll start showing up. I'm just going to tap in. We added a little bit of water to that paint to make it more flowy. Okay, you see that?
And so really what you're doing, you're just kind of moving around so that it doesn't all pile up in one area, and it is not like real geometric looking, I guess. I don't know.
Right, yeah, we're keeping it very organic. Kind of. Yep.
So you don't see lines and patterns very easily.
Right. This is even brighter white here. Getting some interesting effects If I want larger dots, I can use a brush like a Filbert here, for Filbert. And if I have enough water on my brush, if I have it thinned enough, it'll create large droplets. What?
You're out of control over there.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. You're just splattering all over the place.
Well, yeah, it's going to be splattery today. That's why I'm wearing gloves.
I think Dave needs to look away for a little while. Just it's kind of like with Liam. You know, you show him too much exciting things at one time.
Excited.
Yeah.
He's going to get overexcited.
Don't want him to get overexcited and get cranky.
Okay.
Because then I'll get that look from you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was only when...
What it was.
That was the I told you look.
Oh, you didn't have to tell me what that look was. I'm very
No.
I'm very
You're
familiar.
very familiar with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
It's he waits till he's screaming and then hands him off to me to fix it. Look.
It's broke.
Yeah. We were having so much fun. Alrighty, so can you see that? It's super fun, and really, honestly, you could leave it like Mark said. You could leave it like this, and I think it'd be really cool, just as is. But we're going to add our kind of flowery sort of effects.
So you're going to do a traceable for this part?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do traceable for this one. This will be interesting. We'll try. Well, all right, I don't know why I just watered that down. It doesn't need water. I'm going to use a petal now, and I'm just going to scrape through this teal color here and add it to my green. You can add white to your green if you don't have this color out still, and I'm just going to start scraping from the top down, little bits. And if you are worried about your splatters, you can let those dry first if you don't want them to get messed up. But most of this is going to be covered with greenery here at the top, so I'm just going to kind of run through, and I'm just getting the paint right on the edge right here and setting it down and just dragging it down very lightly through the paint so that it's catching on the texture of the canvas. But it's going to create these kind of irregular shapes of color. And we want to go down to about, almost to the bottom, not quite to the bottom here. So, and then I'm going to use the edge of it and grab a little bit of burnt umber. And you could use like I said, you could use a credit card for this if you want to. I'm going to use the edge of the brush, or the edge of this paddle here, and just create. And if I angle it just a little bit, it will make more of it come off my surface of the blade here. I'm just running through some stems. If you get too much on there, you can always kind of scrape it off, or we can cover it later with something else. All right, there we go.
And I got side cam set up just in time for you to stop.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome. I'm going to dab off some of this. Just kind of soften it up with the wet paper. You can see this side's been done, this side hasn't been done. So this is just kind of softening up those colors, blending out those edges just a little bit with this wet sponge, just barely damp sponge. No color on there. Just kind of tapping off and softening it up so it kind of looks all blendy and soft. All right. move these over here so that I know which ones are dirty and which ones are not. This one's been used. Okay, so now we're just going to kind of add our flower shapes, and this is just going to be kind of a random dots for the most part. Grab some white here. Grab some of my Cadmium Red Light. A little bit of the Cadmium Red Medium maybe. Lots of white. And let's kind of create a few little. So I'm just using the edge of my brush here, kind of just tapping straight down. And I can twist it from side to side to get different parts of the brush touching. Just going for kind of a light peach color to start with here. And leaving lots of space between. We're not really worried about these petals attaching to anything. There's just kind of very abstract, so we don't have to worry about the structure of the flower as much as we might normally, want to make sure that it's on a stem or something like that. This is very kind of free-flowing, so just kind of...
And which brush is that again?
This is the Filbert, number 4 Filbert. So going with a little bit darker red here. Some of those in there. There's the Cadmium Red Medium mixed in with it. Really fun. Right, let's grab the magenta. And I want to be sure that I'm going to go ahead and put out some glazing liquid now. Include a little bit of that in there. I'm going to put some of these in kind of like random spots right in the middle of the canvas here. And then there are some really definite flower shapes that these are going to make. So I'm going to make some larger kind of blobs that are sort of just clusters of dabs. So just dabbing 3 or 4 clusters together to create kind of a flower-ish shape. And this brush makes it really easy to do because it's already got the rounded edges, so all I have to do is just plop it down and it's going to create that kind of flower petal shape for me.
Somebody's got a question about colors.
Okay.
They said that if they use reds and yellows in the background, could they add brighter blues and greens once the background is dry, or would it make it look muddy?
Yes, you can. You just... and in fact, it'll kind of turn them green. The blues will kind of turn green with the yellows and things over the top of the yellows. But you might need to add a little bit of white to make the blues more opaque. If they're more opaque, then they're not going to blend with the colors underneath as much visually. So, yeah, yes, you can though. I'm going to use some phthalo blue here, and a little bit of the white. I need some more white.
Do you need me to run down to the store?
I'm good. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right.
Going to add some little dabs of blue. This is Phthalo blue with a little bit of white in it. I'm trying to do it on white. I'm going to get a little bit smaller brush here and pick up some of the Cadmium Yellow Medium and some of my white. This is a small round brush. It's number 2. And I'm going to dot some brighter little sections there. Let's do some over here. This is doing basically the same thing as the Filbert brush, just be a little bit smaller clusters because we're using a little bit smaller brush here. So there we go. I'm going to kind of create some little bit more flower shaped petals. Kind of a star pattern like that. Just on a few. And
So
let's grab some of this brighter yellow. Yep.
is your reference photo a reference photo, or is it your example?
No, it's a conglomerate of. I took a. I think it was maybe a digital file, photo, and I changed the colors and I altered it and kind of added filters and things until I got it to the colors and the sort of softness that I wanted it. So it's a digital file, digital picture. It's not a real example. So I'm trying to get it as close as I can to it without, copying it. Not like copying it exactly, obviously. To do some of the light teal.
I think you started this part of the painting when you swapped out the canvases. I think your canvas was upside down.
Oh, I don't know what you're saying.
So when you showed everybody how to do all the alcohol and salt and all this stuff, and then you swapped to the canvas that you had done earlier.
Right.
I think it was upside down. Can you rotate it 180 degrees and start over? I'm messing with you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not understanding what you're saying.
You're too paint brainy right now.
I know.
Sorry.
Okay.
It was funny,
Does not compute.
But yeah, you didn't get it at all. So
I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, so just doing a little bit light green, like tealish green in there. Let's add a little bit more of some bright lime green. And the nice thing about this is that, you know, we can do all of this, then we can go through and we can wash some more colors over the top of it and do it again. You can do this as many times as you want. You know, we could dry this completely, and then we could do some more alcohol effects over the top and kind of create some weird flower looking things with that. So, you know, I would say this was one of those that you can just kind of take and run with it and make it your own little experiment and really have fun with it. And add a little bit of purple to my quinacridone here to make them more of a violet color. I'm going to make a darker version of it. So there we go.
I'm just going to give you a heads up. I invited us over to Donna's house to do a show from there.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because she lives in Tuscany, Italy.
Ooh.
I think near the ocean, so.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's that.
Is Tuscany near the ocean?
I don't know. Come on. She wrote something in Italian.
Uh-huh.
And it said something about in front of the sea at the end.
Okay.
So I'm just putting 1 and 2 together and getting 6 maybe.
And okay. And inviting ourselves to.
Yeah. She doesn't seem to mind. And I think a few hundred other people are inviting themselves to join us.
To join? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what happens when you live in cool places like that.
Yeah. It reminds me of there's a place in France that I saw that the street is so well known on Instagram that people vacation to just take pictures in front of the street because it's got so many like really cool, like all the streets, all of the buildings are different colored doors and stuff, and it's just really picturesque. And so people come from all over the world just to take photographs on their street, and they're petitioning the city to be able to block off this street so people can't take pictures in front of their houses anymore. Just thought that was pretty funny.
Okay, she lives on the island of Elba, so.
Ah, okay.
I think
I'm
there's
adding
an ocean nearby.
light versions here of this. What'd you say?
I think there's an ocean nearby then.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it. It's an island. Yeah, I would think that's a good guess.
I'm getting contradictory information. No, I don't think anybody can read Italian in the chat. They're worse than me. You thought I was bad thinking
making crap up.
Knowing everything.
All right, so going in with kind of a transparent pink here. Transparent magenta. And really, at any point that you get to this and you're like, I like that, I just want to stop, just go ahead and stop. You know, this is just kind of one of those projects that you could kind of dabble with for a while until you get it just the way you want it. I'm going to add some cadmium yellow light to my magenta here. It's going to make a bright orangey yellow. I'm going to use this in a few spots. Just dabbing lightly. If you have the bright brush, it'll just kind of do the work for you. So you're just using a brush with like a rounded tip. You could even use Q-tips for this. And I've done another painting that was very similar to this with Q-tips. So if you want to look that up.
Cotton swabs.
Yeah, cotton swab, sorry. Using some lighter color here. This is just a lighter version. So now I'm going to kind of start creating some flower shapes here. So just kind of try to find some spots where it would make sense for to have like a little flower shape, and just kind of tuck them in next to each other in little clusters. Grab some of this cadmium yellow light here, a little bit of my white. I'm going to do some little clusters of flowers up in here. Really using all of the colors of the rainbow here, just kind of, but creating little areas that are just that color. So we have a little areas here, here, and here with that brighter yellow, and then you know, the orangey colors here. You don't have to put the color everywhere, but one thing that I've that you can do is to kind of help unify your painting is to use the same color 3 times. So if you introduce a new color, so say I've got the light ultramarine blue here, I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this light. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine. There we go. Just make it a little bit darker. And I'm going to add it somewhere. Well, then I can add it other places. Or this one's a bad example because it's already in the background, but you get the idea. So add it a couple, 2, 3 other places, and it'll help kind of unify your painting. All right, I'm getting close. Whoa! Just dropped my paintbrush. Could have been bad. Let me use the back end of my brush here and just kind of dab in color here. And just use it to dab off some centers of some of these flowers. Could use a brush for this too if you wanted to. Let's splatter some of this color. Some of this darker green. Used to be kind of a consistency of milk, so that'll get it to splatter off here. There we go.
It sounds so weird with your glove on.
Yeah, muted. Like, tap, tap, tap. I'm going to use some white here. Do some splatters with white. And this time I'm going to kind of do them in a line. Get that color. Sort of line it up. stuff going on there. We use the burnt sienna. My palette knife here. Add some more of these lines through some things. You might scrape off some paint too while you do this, which is kind of cool. And like I said, you can stop at any point. So if you don't want to do this, if you're happy with where yours is at, and you don't want to add any more to it, you stop. You don't have to do this. So we're just kind of adding all kinds of different layers. We could even get out our pencils here, and if I wanted to trace with some, Prismacolor pencils, I could do little dabby doos with that. This one's not showing up very good. Let me try it with the black one. Oh, yeah, but it's cool. You could outline your flowers. It could be a pencil that kind of matches your background a little bit. Do some little scribblies. Can you zoom in there and see that, honey? I can zoom in on one of these and I'll show kind of what we're doing with the pencil. There we go. So just random kind of little scribblies. You can see them over here. It's kind of fun. And the pencil will you can varnish right over the top. It won't, there's nothing that'll lift it from the canvas because I think it's wax based, so you can paint over the top of it. These are just regular Prismacolor pencil here. And like I said, you could use colors too if you want to. I just happen to have the black right there handy, so I grabbed it. Right, I'm going to grab my angle brush now. I used the 3/8 inch angle brush. Grab some of my red, add the magenta to it, make a kind of a bright cherry red color. Add a little bit of white, make kind of a watermelon red. And I'm just going to add some of that in just some random spots to create some little flower clusters. A little bit of white. And just use the white kind of over the top. Just dab a few like random white spots to indicate petals. See that? We can go back in with the darker color if you want to. And dab in few darker petals. We run out of quinacridone. Here we go. And this is such a kind of bright color. We'll just use it a few places. We don't need to overwhelm the painting with it. It'll kind of take it over we do too many spots, but I can use it in a few spots there. Yeah, I feel like it needs to be set up right. Can't really see the colors. It's the light is hitting the canvas just right. I'm going to make a little bit of a light green using my phthalo green and a little bit of the yellow oxide here. Just trying to use up my colors that I haven't used yet. Add some white to it. Go. If you get too much color on there, you can always dab it off. What are you laughing at?
They asked, which color haven't you used?
Haven't I? I don't think there's any that I haven't used yet. Pretty much all of them.
Cad blue. Dirty white.
All the colors. We want them all. I'm going to grab some more white here. We're almost done, really. I mean, it's like I said, you can kind of stop at any point. I'm just playing now.
Okay, thanks for joining us. We have a great show. Oh, not me. Oh, them. Okay.
Oh, you're about to leave here.
Yeah, you said I could stop any time, so I was going to shut down the show.
I see. Okay.
But then I realized
You're having fun.
you weren't really talking to me.
I wasn't talking to you, no. All right, just adding little flower petals here with this purple. They look pretty. Using that magenta. A little bit of white. And just use this color on its own. We have a lot of the colors mixed with this magenta, but I don't have any spots with it just alone by itself, so I'm going to kind of add it in a few spots here. Really pretty. You could use your I actually pulled out my fluorescent pink too. I think you could add a little bit of fluorescent pink. It'd be pretty. I don't have this one open. There it is. Oops. Not mixed up. Yeah, the fluorescents tend to settle. Okay. That looks better. So it'll drip out on me. I might even just drip a few spots. I think I'm just going to do that. Just going to shake it over the top and drip a few little spots on here. Yeah, it's fun. I have to kind of hold it upright or it's going to drip. I don't want them to go anywhere. It's so thin.
Didn't think that through.
Yeah, I didn't think that through very well. Thanks for pointing that out.
Gravity. Who would have thought?
So put a few little dabs for the centers of some of these, and I think I'm going to call this good. It's kind of a big floral explosion. Super fun. I hope you try it.
And again, do you.
Right, yeah.
Throw your colors, your style.
Exactly.
Your painting aids, different.
Fun thing about it, yep.
Yeah, different wraps and things like that, and share it in the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
Please. We love seeing everybody's artwork.
I know, it's one of the best parts is getting to see what you guys do with it and your versions of the paintings that we do in these lessons. All right, I'm going to call that quits, I think. Maybe put a little bit of that Cadmium Red Light, just that really bright Cadmium Red Light in a couple spots. Just a little punch of that color. It's super bright, so just gonna use it sparingly. And if you want to make a bigger, a larger flower in here, you can do that too. Got lots of tutorials about how to create roses and different things. So if you want like a flower that looks, more finished, like more of a finished flower, by all means you could add like big sunflowers on here, or roses or daisies or whatever you wanted to do. So I'm gonna do some more of these random shapes with my pencil, and let's use a pen to sign this, and we'll call it good. Hope you try this. This would be a great one to do with kids because they could really explore and just have all kinds of fun with this. Oh, super chat. Nice. Awesome.
Man, people were loving this tonight.
Good.
They're really excited about doing this one.
Awesome.
Letting loose a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we had 2 super chats. First one was from Maureen, and she says, another lovely painting, Angela.
Oh.
And the second one is from Shirley. She says, love watching Angela. I have been trying other YouTubers, but keep coming back here. I love Angela's painting style. Oh, thanks,
Thank you
Shirley.
so much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot because there's a lot of other artists out there doing really great stuff. So that really means a lot to us,
So
for sure.
thanks to Maureen and to Shirley.
Yes, thank you guys so much for supporting our channel and keeping us going here. And we love it. It's so much fun, so fulfilling to get to share what we're doing with other people. And if you want the traceable for this, which I'm not exactly sure how the traceable is going to go, but it'll probably be a bunch of squiggles and things, but they're available on Patreon for $1 a month. You get all the traceables that you want, and we'll be doing our bonus video. So if you sign up for the $5 or more level, then we'll be doing the bonus video this Sunday. We're going to do a leopard. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up. And
the black and white leopard we're going to do colored eyes.
Colored eyes, yep.
That's going to be cool.
I think so.
Well, when I say we, you, Angela's going to be doing it. I'm going to be sitting over here doing chat
and
sounds
eating snacks.
And eating snacks and yawning periodically. No.
That's about right.
Maybe.
That's about right. All right. I'm going to stop here. I'm just.
And even we won't show it, but I finished my shopping this weekend for the new computer build.
Ooh, yay.
So I'll be posting a picture in the Facebook groups once the final parts get here this week.
Nice.
It's
Thank you guys for making that possible.
Yes.
It's going to be great having a new computer. Our computer is almost full. The memory is literally it's maxed out. All the videos we've been doing, saving on it. So we're plus it's just going to be nice to have a faster speed altogether.
You'll be able to handle it better.
Yeah.
Be a better stream, better quality, all that stuff.
Right.
So.
All right, one last splatter. Just for fun. Just because we can.
Splatter on your way out, people.
Splattering as we go out. Yep. Okay, I'm going to stop.
All right, so and our next show is on Saturday.
Yes.
For our next free YouTube video, Saturday at 2 o'clock.
Doing a seascape Saturday, I think.
Nice,
and,
nice.
On a long canvas. It'll be fun, like panorama seascape. And then we'll be doing the leopard on Sunday. And then we'll be back next Tuesday. I think it's the daisy for the flower of the month, I think. I'm not sure.
So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, check out Angela's got already the links posted for those upcoming. You can hit the reminders.
I do, yes. And so if you click on my name or my photograph there underneath the video, it'll take you straight to my homepage of my channel, and you can see all the upcoming videos that we've got going on. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you next time. Bye.